the Carter that owned the Carter Music Store in Houston, one of the huge new movie music stores in Houston, lived on the river in about 10-acre tract, right on the bend of the San Jacinto River. And Dad was doing a plumbing and wiring for the man when he had remodeling done. And I'd go down as a child with Dad and hang around, and every Christmas I recall I'd go down and the man would give me a big bucket of candy. And that was just the highlight of my year, have a bucket of candy. That was back in the 30s, that was really something because everything was very tight money-wise. This man did not want for money, but he was a very, very rich man. But it's one of the few things I do remember.
Tell about the hobos around that time.
You know, at that time there was also everything in the 30s was there were a lot of hobos around. They'd come knock on the back door, and most people would feed them, you know. And then they had some kind of mark that they would put on a house. I don't know what it was, what their mark was, but all the hobos knew that that house was good for a meal. And you know, usually we had beans and cornbread or different kind of things. It wasn't real fancy at that time, but it was filling, and so I call it. Every Friday we had, like I say, we had the electrical plumbing shop, and every Friday all the salesmen would manage to get at our house right at lunchtime and eat beans and cornbread, so saved them having to eat out.
What do you know about the Riverview Inn?
Riverview Inn really was very, very high class in its day. They had huge dances out of Houston, parties and everything. It was just right on the banks of the San Jacinto River that kind of overhung the river a little bit. And Dad was the plumber and electrician that maintained that. And so as a child, I would go down, and they had a huge bar in the building, and it just fascinated me no end, all that mirror and all the bottles sitting up there. I must have been maybe 10 or 12 at that time, but eventually it burnt down. On North Main, on Canal Street, all the way to what the reservoir is now, there were these cross streets in that. There was levees on each side of that whole block across there all the way to the, they're broken up in different sections. It might be 100 foot long or 200 foot long, whatever it might be, and raising frogs in different degree of growth, and he would sell them in Houston to the restaurants. And
Really?
finally the animals got so bad and eating his frogs, he just gave up on it. So thinking back, I remember some of the subdivisions I put in town. Ken Pace and I built one on Battle Barrel, first street to the left. You go down Battle Barrel and turn, and right at the end of that, there was about 10 acres. We came in and made a big loop back to the other street, broke it up in for nice homes, and that was really my first subdivision experience. And after that, went on to put Laurie Heights in, and Orchard Acres, and Prairie Village, section 1 through 4.
Apache Land in Crosby.
And which one, babe?
Apache Land in Crosby.
Yeah, Apache Land in Crosby. And these subdivisions, I'd break up, bring them into lots, and sell them for $100 down, $30 a month. These people could put mobile homes on, or homes, whatever they wanted to do, and brought me a nice income in. My uncle, Fred Ramsey, came to me and says, Charlie said, if you want to get in the real estate business, we'll go buy this 200 acres out on Highway 90, and I'll go to the bank, and you and I'll sign a $40,000 note, and you pay it back, and we split the profits on it. I said, well, that's fine with me, because I was just getting started, and Dad had passed away at that time. Theo was on the Ramsey Chevrolet, and he was the next oldest boy in the Ramsey family, and he just kind of took me under his wing and tried to help me learn business, and he did. And so we took this 200 acres, run a road right down through the middle of it, and sold off blocks for $100 down, 6%, and $30 a month. Everybody that wanted had a mobile home or something, they came in and bought it instead of renting it. And so they put all their septic tanks in, and I'd put I can't remember. No, I didn't put a water well in out there. Most of all the other subdivisions I had put water wells in for. But that was one of the first that I put in, so. I recall our first little house, Mo Ramsey gave us a lot and we built a house on it, 1 bedroom, and we lived there for a long time. And then as things got better, we would take that house and mortgage it and build some other subdivision or something and pay that house off, and then come back and we'd build another subdivision and rent that house to use the developmental money on it. So it served its purpose many ways, that house. And as things got more prosperous, we moved down on Lakeside Drive on the south side of Highlands and built a very nice home with a swimming pool behind it and raised our kids there. So we were in the Deer Park School District, and I recall in 1963, they asked me to be a school trustee, and I spent about 2.5 years as school trustee over there. At the time, we built a new stadium for football. We built a new junior high school and one more elementary school. I got there, and I was looking the other day when we were down there and saw my name on the plaque. So I've got it there for posterity's sake. There were many things that were happening in town at that time. We had Clayton Dubose had an appliance store at that time, and Guy Cawthon and Kathy was it? Patty had a grocery store. Ray Martin had a grocery store, and Chandler's had a grocery store in town. So they were well supplied with groceries at that time. Doc Soche on the corner of Main Street, I forgot the name of the other street, had his drugstore there. First put it in, it had a fountain in it, but in later years, when Jimmy Zell took over, they did away with the fountain. There was only a pharmacy there. And so I was making $350 a month back then and supporting the family, and usually our groceries ran about $150, so we had a $200 a month house note. So if I didn't sell some outside real estate, or either they had $4 polio insurance at that time, I could sell $4 and I'd make $2 on it. So I knocked on a lot of houses in Highlands to sell everybody a polio policy. But every summer we'd go to Mexico because we didn't have the money to go anywhere else. We'd go down there for 2 weeks, very little expense. And I recall one trip down there, our next door neighbor was Willie Herndon. He had a family, all the kids, his kids and our kids grew up together. And we were driving on the street down in Mexico, and down in the deep bowels of Mexico, and saw Willie and the family, and we honked at him, pulled over, and had a nice visit. So it's a small world. You never know when you run across people. Thinking about Lakeside Drive where we built our home, it's really a nice secluded neighborhood back right off the river. We didn't have a river lot, but ours was on the other side. But all the kids were free to roam the streets and do everything without fear of traffic or anything. And Pete Petrie lived right next to Mom, and then I recall that the Herndons lived right next to us. Down on the corner, Doc Jim Salmons lived at one time, and we had
Hendrickson's.
a nice neighborhood. Trying to think back, Mr. Moyler lived on one side, and it was a very quiet neighborhood, and everybody really enjoyed we were fortunate enough to have just a minute, Mom wants to tell me something.
Karen.
Oh, Karen Painter lived right behind us, and we had a swimming pool, and she and Dana spent a lot of time in the pool. They were inseparable. They lived either at her house or our house. It didn't make much difference which, but they were constantly together. A nice friendship, and just lasted down through the years. She's a very, very nice young lady. And trying to think back who else lived on that street. Who lived on the corner, babe? Mark Graham and his wife, folks lived across the street from
The
us.
Stastnys.
The Morleys.
Yeah, Stassies and
The Salmons, did you say?
Sammy. Yeah, who lived on the corner?
Phil and Don Hendrickson.
No, they lived
The
down there.
Davises.
Davises lived down there, that's right.
Mhm.
Recall different ones that lived on that street, but very close-knit neighborhood and very quiet. And eventually the road was extended over into the adjoining property and they developed it with a bunch of nice homes that's there now. But Highlands has grown down through the years.